Hey, it's Billy.
And Pat. And Billy is gonna give some tips on how to do a solo long distance road trip because he did one and he knows.
Yeah, 7.
Okay, Billy, first tip would be what?
Having all of your important items on you at all times, especially when you're alone. I picked up a vest that had a lot of pockets. I got it from like a fishing store. But it was really comfortable because it didn't add any extra heat on me during the ride, which can be really hot if it's summer months when you're driving and the sun's beating down on you. But it was a really nice way to know I had my car key, which with an automatic like car key now, without the key, it's nice to just always have on you. You don't want to leave it in the car. Your wallet, your passport, all of that stuff is just with you at all times and zipped up. So you're not really gonna lose it. And
you can't
if
really
you do,
put it down, right?
It's much harder to lose it, yeah.
Okay, next tip.
Next tip would be having your location shared with a loved one, your husband, wife, family,
Your
whoever.
nervous spouse?
Yes, because listen, when you're on a road trip by yourself, I guess it depends on who you are, but it's nice to have that alone time, and it's hard when you're alone to be talking on the phone. You don't want to be texting when you're driving. No. So it's nice just to know that if there's someone that's curious and nervous about you or wants to make sure you're doing okay, they can just look at the map, see that you're moving, and it just kind of gives you an opportunity to breathe and know that you're like, people know where you are, if you care about that. I kind of didn't when I was away.
As the person on the other side, I will say it was a really nice, like, passive way to check in on you without having to try to communicate with you. I could just check in, know you were safe and moving, and let you do your thing.
Listen, I was driving most days. I did not have time to answer a phone call.
Yeah.
Or, like, I didn't want to look at my phone. I didn't want to pull over. I'm alone. That's not safe. So, better to just keep the map on and not be responding.
Okay, what else you got?
Next tip is actually very similar to the last tip, and that is to have your car mode on your phone, because it really helped me disconnect from my phone, because you really need to be paying attention to driving when you're driving. Is that so you
stop getting notifications?
Yes. I know on an iPhone it's an option, I'm pretty sure it's on other phones as well. It's kind of like an away message. If you're old enough to know what an away message is from AOL, it's a message that someone gets when you try to contact them that says, this is why I can't respond right now. And the nice thing on smartphones is that they normally send a separate text that says, if this is an emergency, please type this, and they'll push the notification through to the person you're trying to send a message to. I like this. It just was a way to be like, anyone that's trying to contact me right now will get a message that says, I am on a road trip, I am driving. The next time I am available to pull over, I will text you back. You know, it's just a nice way to separate yourself from it.
Okay, and how do you combat, like, loneliness?
Oh, well, I guess this depends on the person as well, but for me, I'm a little bit introverted. Meanwhile, I'm right here on, like, YouTube.
Yeah, but we're here by ourselves.
I know,
really.
we're here by ourselves. I challenged myself, and I think everyone should challenge themselves, to talk to people when you're out and about.
Talk to people?
I know. And I have there's two ends of this. I have a talking and non-talking tip. So the talking tip, go into a bar, go into some place where a restaurant, and sit, alone at the bar if you want, And people really want to know about your trip, I found. People wanted to hear about it, and people were really generous and nice. People are all generous. Like, this is the best tip you can have. When you're alone, people care about the fact that someone is traveling alone and tend to go out of their way for them and are nice to them. Might give you a free drink, a discount on your check.
People showed you really nice hospitality.
I didn't expect those things, but they happened, and I thought it was really, really nice, and people genuinely wanted to know why I was on my trip and how I was doing. And if you're alone, like, go talk to people. Like, they want to know. If they don't, move on. You have to move on. On the opposite end, also there's opportunities to not talk to people. And that's kind of another amazing part about traveling.
Go on, tell me more.
Seattle. Seattle is the perfect example. There were so many people in Seattle, such a busy city. And I was wandering around, I didn't really know what to do, and I was looking for a dinner spot. So I just found myself with my phone kind of hanging out on corners where I saw a lot of people congregating. And I was like, no one really knows that you're alone. No one knows that you're standing here listening to people's conversations.
They don't know you're being a huge creep.
No,
they think
and
you're
the
just
thing is,
waiting for a friend.
I think there's more creeps out there than we all think, but it's not creepy that I wanted to kind of get impressions of neighborhoods and places people were going into by what people were talking about.
So you're just like listening to what was happening around
I stopped a lot, and people think you're waiting for a lift or, you know, you're just looking at social media. Everyone's on their phone staring all the time. It's not weird for someone to be standing alone on their phone. I took that as an opportunity to listen in and find my way into some really nice restaurants that I would never have known to go to simply because there was a line of people waiting. I got to hear them all talk about it. And it's, I think, a great tip to take with you is to talk to people to make connections, but also not talk at specific times to help learn where you are, because people don't care that you're alone listening. They don't
like a fly
even
on the
know
wall.
you're listening. You're a fly on the wall.
I bet that's really kind of a good tip too, because you could probably get into some like nicer or better restaurants because you're a party of one. So as long as you are okay eating by yourself, you probably can get in.
I travel also because I love to eat and I like to drink. I like a good cocktail. I love a good interesting menu at a restaurant I don't know. I got into a restaurant that had a long line that they were rejecting people from, and I went up by myself, told her I was alone, asked for a spot at the bar. I ended up getting a seat in a restaurant. Yeah, I did. It was probably kind of sad, but also people understand aloneness. They understand that, and they tend to connect with it more. She ended up seating me at my own table. I had an amazing meal where I asked the waiter, ooh, this is another tip. Tip. Ask your waiters if you're traveling and eating, just have them pick something for you off the menu if you don't know where you are or what you're eating. I did that at a Malaysian restaurant. I had no idea what to get, and the waiter was like, you know what you want? And I was like, I don't even know what this restaurant is. I'm road tripping. I would love a suggestion from someone that knows this restaurant to feed me a good meal. And it worked. It was really cool. I ate fish heads. So
Okay, any more tips?
Well, okay, so I drove across Canada from the East Coast to the West Coast and then through the States from the West Coast to the East Coast. Let me just preface it with that. I think the tip that I learned early in the trip was to find things that you enjoy to make as your focal, like your focal point. You're focused on going to these destinations, which were not the destinations I had planned originally. I ended up looking for local public beaches across the continent. Anywhere there was a body of water. I love to swim. Swimming gets your legs moving. I decided that I was going to try to look for public, like provincial parks, state parks, where I could go and probably pay like $5 to get access to the state park and go swim for an hour or two and get to relax for a bit. Like, find something that you really love and make that an anchor along the way. So for me, it was swimming. If you're an antiquer, like look for antique shops along the way, so that kind of guides you and gives you this motivation to get to the next point. I like that.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing your road trip tips, Billy Bob. I'm sure that's helpful. I'm sure you might have a million more questions or specifics about Billy's trip, so leave some comments and we'll do our best to respond to
I have a month's worth of stories.
Yes.
And tips.
More videos on the way. All right, guys, we'll see you soon.
Yep.
Bye. Because he did one and he knows.
Yeah, 7.
This video is canceled.